The cargo bay smelled of metal and rain. Rows of cages lined the walls, each one filled with a person, not human but humanoid. They were slaves from conquered colonies, silent and hopeless under the dim yellow light. Captain Elias Rowan stood at the edge of the bay, his hands behind his back, jaw tight. He hated this place, but he had come for a reason. Elias was a human soldier who had fought in the Orion Wars, the brutal conflict between humans and several alien coalitions. He had seen too many die, human and alien alike. After the war, he left the military, but peace had not come easy. The galaxy was broken. Many planets sold their defeated citizens into servitude to survive. Elias had not come to buy a servant. He came to save one. The merchant, a tall man with gray eyes and thin lips, greeted him with a smile that was too wide. "Captain Rowan," he said, "you always pay in full. What are you looking for this time? Labor, protection, or company?" Elias ignored the tone. "Show me the list from Sector Lyra 9, he said. The merchant's smile faded slightly. "Those are delicate goods. Most of them are females of the Lyrian race. You know, the ones with the blue markings." I know what they are," Elias interrupted. "Show me the list." He didn't want to hear more. The Lyrians had once fought alongside humans. They were graceful, intelligent beings known for empathy and deep telepathic bonds. But when the human fleets pulled back, the Lyrians were left defenseless. The rest of the galaxy blamed them for siding with humanity. Now they were slaves. The merchant handed over a holopad. Elias scrolled through faces, dozens of them, all tired, hollow-eyed. Then one image stopped him. A young Lyrian woman with silver hair, pale skin marked with faint blue lines that glowed softly even in the low light. Her name was listed as Arya of Lyra 9, age 23 cycles. Condition, weak but stable. "I'll take her," Elias said. The merchant blinked. She's different. Doesn't speak much. Doesn't obey. And I said I'll take her." Elias's tone left no room for argument. He transferred the credits without hesitation. The merchant smirked, printed the ownership chip, and led him toward the back. "Your responsibility now, Captain. Don't come crying when she refuses to eat or follow orders." When the cage opened, Arya looked up slowly. Her eyes were bright silver, tired but still alive. She didn't flinch when Elias stepped closer. Most others did. "You're free now," he said quietly, kneeling so he didn't tower over her. "I paid for you, yes, but not to own you. To get you out of here," she frowned. Her voice was soft, melodic, but sharp at the edges. "You paid for me. That means you claim me." Elias sighed. "It means I got you away from people who would treat you like a thing." "You don't owe me anything," but Arya didn't answer. She just stared at him as if trying to read his thoughts. Her kind were known to sense emotions, even faint ones. Perhaps she could feel that Elias meant no harm. She stood slowly and followed him out. The journey. The ship Vigilant Dawn hummed quietly as it left the trade station behind. Elias guided her through hyperspace lanes, the blue light streaking across the cockpit window. Arya sat silently in the corner, wrapped in a blanket he had given her. She hadn't eaten much, hadn't spoken since they left. He turned from the controls. "You should rest. We'll reach a safe world in 2 days." "Safe?" she asked softly. "For who?" "For both of us," he said. "Humans and Lyrians. There are colonies that don't care about the war anymore." She looked down at her hands. "There is no safe place for my kind." Elias wanted to argue, but he couldn't. She was right. Even on neutral worlds, Lyrians were distrusted. Too alien to be seen as equals, too human-like to be treated as beasts. "Then maybe we'll make one," he said at last. That caught her attention. "Make one?" "Yes," he said, "a home. Somewhere away from the politics, away from the hate. I've got enough saved to buy land on the outer rim. It won't be easy, but it'll be ours." Arya blinked, confused by the word ours. "Why would a human want to live with a Lyrian?" He smiled faintly. "Because I'm tired of fighting. And because I believe people like you deserve more than cages." She looked away, but he saw her shoulders tremble slightly. Not in fear, but something closer to disbelief. For years she had been treated as property, not a person. She didn't know what kindness looked like anymore. A storm in the dark later that night, the ship entered a storm. A burst of ion energy struck the hull, shaking the corridors. Arya stumbled, grabbing a rail. Elias ran to stabilize the systems, but the controls sparked. "Power cells overheating," he shouted. "We'll lose navigation." Arya closed her eyes. The markings on her skin glowed brighter, pulsing in rhythm. "I can help," she said. "You?" He asked, startled. She nodded. "Lyrians can link to energy systems. We can calm them, guide them." Before he could stop her, she placed her hand on the console. Her glow spread through the metal and the alarm slowly dimmed. The ship's shaking eased and the light stabilized. Elias stared. You saved us." Arya withdrew her hand, swaying slightly from exhaustion. "You saved me first," she whispered before collapsing. He caught her before she hit the floor. For a moment, he saw something more than a rescued alien. He saw someone brave, someone powerful, someone worth fighting for. Trust. The next morning, Arya woke in the medbay. Elias was sitting beside her, repairing a broken datapad. When he noticed her eyes open, he smiled. "You're alive." "I was worried." "You shouldn't worry for me," she said. "We are different species. You paid for me, but you are not responsible." "Stop saying that," Elias said quietly. "I didn't buy you to own you." "Then why?" she asked again. He looked at her, really looked. "Because I couldn't stand to see another innocent locked in a cage. Because I'm human and humans are supposed to fight for what's right." Her expression softened. "Humans?" she said slowly, as if tasting the word. "You fight even when you are broken," he chuckled. "Maybe that's what makes us human." A quiet moment passed. Outside, stars drifted by like silver dust. Arya sat up, touching the faint bruise on her wrist where the ownership tag had been. Elias had removed it carefully while she slept. "You're free now," he said again. "No chip, no collar." She held her wrist close. "Free," she repeated, as if unsure how the word should feel. Then, looking at him, she added softly, "Then I choose to stay." Elias blinked. "You don't have to." "I know," she said. "But I want to. You saved me, not because of what I am, but who I am." "That is rare," he nodded slowly. "Then you're welcome aboard the Vigilant Dawn, Arya." A small smile curved her lips, and the first real one he had seen. "Then we begin," she whispered. The planet Nareth 7 looked peaceful from orbit. Green fields, blue rivers, and a golden sky. But Elias Rowan knew better. Peace was always fragile. Still, it was better than the trade worlds or the war zones he had seen. He guided the Vigilant Dawn through the atmosphere, its engines humming softly. Arya stood beside him in the cockpit, her silver hair shining in the sunlight that broke through the clouds. She had changed since the day he freed her. Her eyes were clearer, her movements confident, her voice stronger. "This is it," Elias said. "Our new home." Arya tilted her head. "It's beautiful, but are you sure we can live here?" "Yeah," he replied. "There's a human colony nearby, but they're independent. No one asks questions. If we keep to ourselves, no one will care that you're Lyrian." She nodded slowly, still watching the view outside. "A place with no cages," she said softly. Elias smiled faintly. "That's the plan." A home in the hills, they landed on the edge of a valley surrounded by green hills and tall silver-leafed trees. The air was fresh and full of strange birdsongs. Elias spent days unloading supplies, building shelter modules, and setting up solar panels. Arya worked beside him, learning fast, helping where she could. She was curious about everything, the tools, the machines, even the soil. "Humans create with their hands," she said one evening, holding a metal spanner carefully. "You build what you dream," Elias chuckled. "We try. Sometimes it breaks before we finish." "Still," she said, smiling faintly, "you keep trying. That's something Lyrians admired in your kind." Her words warmed him. They spent the following weeks building a small home. 2 rooms, a kitchen, and a view of the valley. It wasn't much, but it was theirs. Every day, Arya added small touches. Blue stones near the door, glowing vines around the windows, and tiny energy crystals that lit the house softly at night. Elias didn't say it out loud, but he liked those touches. They made the place feel alive. Learning humanity, Arya's curiosity about humans never stopped. She asked questions that made Elias laugh, sometimes think. "Why do humans eat together?" she asked one night sitting by the fire. "It's comfort," he said. "It makes us feel connected." "And why do you smile even when things hurt?" He paused, poking the fire. "Because if we don't, we remember too much pain." Arya was quiet for a long moment. "Then maybe I will learn to smile too." From that night she tried. Awkward at first, shy later, and genuine after a few weeks. Her smile became a small light in the quiet valley, one that even Elias couldn't ignore. Sometimes they worked in silence, other times they shared stories. Elias told her about Earth, its oceans, its storms, its music. Arya told him about Lyra 9, the glowing forests and the way her people sang to the stars. In those talks, they discovered something rare, not just friendship, but understanding. The past returns peace never lasts long. One afternoon, while Elias was repairing the generator, a ship descended nearby, black, angular, military-made. Arya saw it first. Her markings dimmed in fear. "That's not a trader ship," she whispered. Elias's instincts kicked in. He grabbed his old rifle and moved toward the clearing. The ship door opened and 2 armored figures stepped out. Their helmets bore the insignia of the Union Patrol, the same government that once sanctioned the Lyrian enslavement. Captain Elias Rowan, the lead soldier, called. "You're harboring an unregistered alien life form." "Step aside," Elias clenched his jaw. "She's under my protection. You have no right here." "She's property," the soldier said coldly. "Bought, not freed. You know the code." Arya stepped forward, trembling but firm. "I am not property," she said. "I am Arya of Lyra 9, the soldiers laughed cruelly. "You're whatever the records say you are." Elias's grip on the rifle tightened. "You'll have to go through me first." For a tense moment, no one moved. Then Arya stepped closer to him, placing her hand on his arm. "No more war," she whispered. "Not for me." Her touch glowed faintly, calming the air around them. Elias lowered his weapon, but his eyes stayed sharp. "You have 1 minute to leave," he told the soldiers. "She's free here. If you take her, you'll have to kill me first." The soldiers exchanged glances. Something in his tone, the fire of a veteran who had survived worse, made them hesitate. Finally, they turned back to their ship. "You can't hide her forever," one said before they lifted off. When the ship vanished into the sky, Elias exhaled slowly. Arya was still trembling. "They'll come again," she whispered. "Then we'll be ready," he said quietly. "I promised you freedom. I meant it. A promise of life days passed in tense silence." Elias reinforced the home's defenses, while Arya watched the horizon with worry in her eyes. She blamed herself for bringing danger to him, though he never said a word of complaint. One night, as rain poured outside, Arya sat by the window watching the lightning. "You risked everything for me?" she said softly. "Why?" Elias looked up from his seat. "Because I couldn't watch another person suffer for someone else's war. But what if they return? What if they take you because of me?" He smiled sadly. "Then I'll go down fighting. That's a human thing." Arya's throat tightened. "You humans are strange. You fight for people you barely know." He shrugged. "Maybe that's why we survive." She turned toward him. "And maybe that's why I—" She stopped mid-sentence, her cheeks glowing faintly from her markings. "That's why I stay." Their eyes met, not in romance, but in shared survival. They both understood that something deeper was forming, born not from desire, but from trust. The miracle weeks later, as the storms faded, Arya began to feel weak. Her energy dimmed, her glow fading. Elias worried she was sick. He ran tests, checked her vitals, and tried to contact a medic, but communications were unstable. When she finally spoke, her voice trembled. "Elias, there's something you should know," he frowned. "What is it?" Her eyes shimmered faintly. "Lyrians are rare now. Our bond energy. It connects when 2 souls trust each other deeply. Sometimes that bond creates life." He blinked. "Life, you mean?" She nodded, placing a trembling hand on her stomach. "A new beginning. A child of both worlds." Elias froze, his thoughts racing. He knew enough xenobiology to understand the impossibility, or miracle, of such a thing. "Are you sure?" She nodded again. "Our life energy is compatible when trust becomes complete. You saved me, shared your home, your heart. Now that bond has awakened." Elias sat beside her, quiet for a long moment. "Arya, I never meant for this—" "I know," she said quickly. "It is not shame, it is life. It means hope," he met her eyes. "Then we protect that hope." Arya smiled softly, tears shining like liquid silver. "You always protect, human." He chuckled weakly. "And you always surprise me." A new beginning. Over the next few months, their lives changed. Arya's health improved as her body adapted, glowing brighter each night. Elias built new structures around their home, preparing for a future neither of them had expected but both accepted. He often found himself smiling as he watched her hum to the stars, her glow reflecting off the walls. One evening, she turned to him and said, You humans believe families are made by blood, but I think they are made by choice. Elias looked at her, truly looked. Then I choose this family, he said. Whatever comes. Arya's eyes softened. Then I choose it too. The stars above shimmered as if in agreement. In that quiet valley, a new kind of bond, not just between man and woman, but between two species, had formed. They had no idea what the future would bring. But for the first time since the war, Elias felt something he had forgotten long ago: hope. The first rays of sunlight painted the hills of Narratedscifi in gold. The valley looked peaceful, but Elias Rowan knew better. Peace was fragile. Still, for the first time in years, it was theirs. Arya stood outside, her silver hair glinting in the morning sun. She gently placed a hand on her stomach. The life growing inside her was a symbol of hope, not just for her and Elias, but for what humanity and the Lyrians could achieve together. Elias approached, carrying a bundle of tools. He stopped when he saw her glowing faintly, her markings brighter than ever. "Morning," he said softly. Arya smiled. "Morning," she replied. "How are the defenses today?" He shrugged. "Better than yesterday, but not perfect. I'm still worried about the Union patrol," she nodded. "They will come again eventually, but we are ready. Together." A stranger arrives that evening. A soft humming approached from the valley. Elias raised an eyebrow. "That's not a storm." Sure enough, a small scout ship touched down near their perimeter. The hatch opened and a figure stepped out, humanoid, tall, wearing the simple uniform of a scout from the Outer Rim colonies. "Captain Rowan?" The stranger called. "I bring a message. From the Lyrian resistance." Arya froze. "The resistance? They survived?" "Yes," the scout said. "And they've been looking for you." "For her?" He gestured to Arya. "Your escape inspired others. Lyra 9 is being freed slowly, but there's a larger threat. The Union patrol still hunts those who helped Lyrians." Elias's jaw tightened. "Then we need a plan," Arya nodded. "We cannot fight alone, Elias, but maybe we don't have to." The scout laid out maps, transmission logs, and plans for the next strikes against Union outposts. For the first time, Elias and Arya realized that their small home was no longer just a refuge. It was the beginning of something larger. Building a future weeks passed. The duo prepared not just their home, but the valley itself. With the scouts' help, they fortified the perimeter, built hidden shelters, and planted food that could survive harsh weather. Arya discovered that she could link to the soil and help the plants grow faster, guiding water and nutrients in a gentle pulse. Elias watched in awe as she made their garden bloom in ways he had never imagined. "This valley will sustain us," she said one afternoon, watching Elias adjust the solar panels. "And it will sustain others who need shelter." He paused, leaning on a spade. "You think others will come?" She smiled. "Yes, once they see hope, they will come. We are not just building a home. We are building a haven." It was a concept Elias understood. He had fought for planets, armies, and borders. But now he was fighting for life itself. Life that would not just survive, but thrive. The first challenge on a clear night. While Elias and Arya monitored the valley, an alarm went off and a ship approaching fast. The Union patrol had returned. "This time they're serious," Elias muttered, loading his rifle. Arya stood beside him, her hands glowing softly, ready to channel her energy to defend them. The Union ship landed and soldiers poured out, weapons raised. But this time Elias had a plan. He and Arya guided the valley's natural energy through hidden conduits, creating barriers that slowed the soldiers' approach. The plants Arya had nurtured responded to her energy, entangling mechanical legs and disabling drones. The soldiers were caught off guard. They advanced cautiously, only to find the valley's defenses were alive. Not just technology, but life itself. Elias led the counterattack, his knowledge of tactics and quick thinking keeping them ahead. Arya focused, her energy guiding every step, every pulse, every movement. By dawn, the attackers retreated. Their ship was damaged, their mission failed. Elias and Arya stood together, tired but victorious. "You see," she said, glowing softly. "Life protects life." He smiled, brushing sweat from his forehead. "I see it, and I think it's beautiful." A family forms. Months passed. The valley flourished. Their home expanded with new rooms, workshops, and a small school where children, human and Lyrian, learned together. Arya's pregnancy progressed. Her glow became constant, a gentle light that bathed the valley. Elias watched over her, often holding her hand, often talking to the child they were about to welcome into the universe. "Do you think they'll like me?" she asked one evening, looking at her reflection in the pond. "They'll love you," Elias replied, "because you are their mother, because you are strong, and because you are Arya." Her silver eyes softened. "And you?" she asked. "Do you think I'll change you?" He chuckled. "I'm already changed. You've saved me, Arya. Not just once, but every day since I met you. You've made me human in ways I didn't know I needed." They embraced under the stars. The valley was quiet, alive, and full of promise. The birth one night, the stars shone brighter than usual. Arya's glow intensified, signaling the arrival. Elias assisted her through the birthing chamber they had prepared. The moment their child emerged, Elias held it carefully. A being with silver markings and human warmth, a bridge between two species. Arya lay back, exhausted but radiant. "Our child," she whispered, tears streaking her face. "Our life together." Elias nodded, unable to speak. He felt the weight of hope, of future, of something beyond war and pain. A small smile curved his lips. "We did it," he finally said. The child cooed, their tiny glow pulsing with energy that was part human, part Lyrian. Elias looked at Arya. "We did this together," he said. "Yes," she replied, holding his hand. Together. The marriage weeks later, they decided to formalize their bond, not because of tradition, but because they wanted to celebrate their life, their family, and their shared future. They stood atop a hill overlooking the valley they had nurtured. Scouts from other liberated Lyrians and humans came, witnesses to a union that symbolized something bigger than either species. Elias took Arya's hands. "I promise to protect you, Arya. Today I promise to be with you always." Arya smiled, her glow reflecting the rising sun. "And I promise to share my life with you, Elias. Not as a slave, not as a rescued alien, but as a partner, a mother, a wife." The crowd cheered softly, but the valley itself seemed to celebrate, the plants and trees swaying gently as if acknowledging the new chapter. Legacy of Hope months turned to years. The valley became a haven for those who were once lost, humans and Lyrians alike. Children grew, learning both languages, both cultures, both ways of seeing the universe. Elias and Arya taught them not just survival, but trust, respect, and unity. The child, a symbol of the bond between worlds, grew strong and curious, loved by both species. Elias often sat with Arya under the stars, watching the lights of their valley glow softly in the night. "We've come far," he said. "Yes," Arya replied. "And yet this is just the beginning," he nodded. "One day they'll see that humans and Lyrians are not enemies. They are partners. They are family." Arya rested her head on his shoulder, and it started with a promise. Elias held her close, feeling the warmth of home, of family, of hope. For the first time since the Orion Wars, he believed that the universe could be better, that humans could be heroes not through conquest but through protection, trust, and love. The stars above Nareth 7 shone brighter than ever, as if blessing the first union between worlds, a promise that life, even after war, could thrive.